No one told you life was gonna be this way. But what if a sitcom did have a lot to say about life, love, and everything in between? Friends might just be the philosophical guidebook hiding in plain sight. Think about it. 6 friends in a New York coffee shop joking about dating dramas and daily struggles. Could there be deeper life lessons brewing beneath the laughter? Could a show that made us laugh till we cried also change how we see friendship and romance? Today, we're digging into how Friends blends comedy with philosophy, the clever tricks in its script, acting, and directing, and how it quietly shaped a generation's views on relationships. And trust me, by the end, you'll never see this show the same way again. Hello everyone, I'm director Ammar Hejazi. If you enjoy deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Also, tell me in the comments which movie or show I should talk about next. Now before we grab a coffee at Central Perk and start this analysis, remember to stick around till the end. We'll uncover some hidden messages in Friends that even die-hard fans might have missed. Let's dive in.
And when I dance, I look like this.
At first glance, Friends is a lighthearted sitcom about 6 20-somethings finding their way in New York City. Yet, beneath the humor, the show explores timeless philosophical themes of friendship, love, and personal growth. In fact, some scholars argue that Friends exemplifies what Aristotle called friendship of virtue, the highest form of friendship based on mutual goodness. The 6 main characters, Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Chandler, Joey, and Ross, aren't just buddies who grab coffee. They actively help each other become better people, sticking together through broken hearts, career failures, and personal quirks. The show's famous theme song even promises, "I'll be there for you," echoing this ideal of friends as a chosen family who are there for each other through thick and thin. Beyond Aristotle, the philosophy of Friends shines in how it depicts the family you choose. These characters come from very different backgrounds: a spoiled rich girl, a nerdy paleontologist, a quirky foster child musician, etc. Yet they form a tight-knit support system. They demonstrate that true friendship isn't about convenience, it's about choosing to be there for someone. The series consistently shows acts of loyalty and sacrifice, from Joey literally jumping into a burning building to save Ross's prize monkey, to all the friends racing to the airport to stop Rachel from leaving for Paris. Such moments underscore a key message: friends are the family that understand you and stand by you even when life gets messy. Interestingly, Friends doesn't shy away from illustrating different forms of love and companionship. Romantic love is a huge part of the plot. Ross and Rachel's on and off saga, Monica and Chandler's married life, Phoebe finding Mike, etc. But equally important is the platonic love among the group. The show sends a message that the bond between friends can be just as powerful as romance. For example, when Phoebe gives birth to triplets as a surrogate for her brother, it's a loving act that goes beyond typical friendship. It's almost altruistic. And consider Chandler and Joey's bromance. They're goofy roommates who tease each other, but when the chips are down, like when Joey forgives Chandler for kissing his girlfriend in The One with the Girl from Poughkeepsie, it highlights forgiveness and unconditional support. These are deep values wrapped in jokes and laugh tracks. Speaking of laugh tracks, let's address the comedy. Yes, Friends is hilarious, but even the humor has a philosophical edge. The constant sarcastic quips and witty banter often carry grains of truth about relationships and human nature. For instance, Chandler's self-deprecating jokes about his commitment issues aren't just played for laughs. They reflect genuine fears of vulnerability. Phoebe's absurd songs like Smelly Cat might seem silly, but they hide messages of acceptance, not judging others for their flaws. In short, Friends taught us lessons between the punchlines. As we'll see next, the brilliant writing and acting made sure those lessons hit home, even if we didn't realize it at the time.
All right, what are we having?
One reason Friends holds up decades later is its smart writing. The show is packed with clever setups, running gags, and heartfelt payoffs. The writers, Marta Kaufman and David Crane, and their team managed to craft stories that were outrageously funny and surprisingly insightful about everyday life. The dialogue is especially sharp. In fact, television scholars point out that Friends' success came largely from its lively verbal interaction. The rapid-fire conversations not only deliver laughs, but also provide profound insight into human nature. The characters constantly engage in witty back and forths that mirror how real friends talk. Through these humorous chats, the show sneaks in commentary on trust, jealousy, family pressure, you name it. Take the famous Ross and Rachel "we were on a break" debate. On the surface, it's a hilarious recurring joke, and yes, Ross will die on that hill. But the way their argument unfolds over multiple episodes actually explores themes of communication and trust in relationships. In the one where Ross and Rachel take a break and the one the morning after, the writers use a comedic misunderstanding to pose a serious question to the audience. How do couples define their relationship boundaries? And can a technicality excuse a betrayal? It's Relationship Ethics 101. Delivered through some of the most quotable lines in sitcom history. By laughing at Ross's desperation, "we were on a break," viewers were also prompted to think about what they consider a betrayal in their own relationships. Comedy with substance. That's the brilliance of the Friends script. Another hallmark of the writing is how each episode is structured as a mini story. Ever notice every episode title starts with "the one where with"? This titling format feels like the friends are reminiscing about their lives. Remember the one where Joey got a turkey stuck on his head? Yes, that happened in The One with All the Thanksgivings. It's a clever narrative device that makes each episode feel like a shared inside joke with the audience. Yet, despite these self-contained stories, the writers excelled at long-term storytelling too, weaving character development and running story arcs through seasons. Think of how Monica and Chandler's relationship was set up as a surprise ending in London, the one with Ross's wedding, part 2, and then evolved naturally into marriage and family. Or how Joey's career struggles as an actor provide a continuous undercurrent of pathos beneath his goofy one-liners. These ongoing arcs gave the show emotional depth. Viewers weren't just laughing at the characters, we were invested in them. The humor itself in Friends is worth a closer look. Sure, there are silly one-off jokes, Ross whitening his teeth to glow-in-the-dark levels, anyone? But often the comedy arises from character-driven situations and language play. Linguistic experts have even analyzed Friends to explain how its humor works, noting that the writers cleverly exploit puns, wordplay, and creative metaphors not just for laughs, but to reveal character traits and reinforce themes. For example, consider Chandler's trademark sarcasm. When he quips, "could I be wearing any more clothes?" Mimicking Joey mimicking him. It's funny on the surface, but it also reflects Chandler's defensive humor, using jokes to cope with awkward situations. Likewise, Phoebe's bizarre metaphors, "he's her lobster," to describe Ross and Rachel's destined love in The One with the Prom video, are laugh-out-loud moments that also convey a romantic idea in a fresh, memorable way. Even something as simple as Joey's catchphrase, "how you doin'," is more than a pickup line. It encapsulates Joey's warm but cheeky personality, instantly recognizable to fans around the world. Importantly, the writers weren't afraid to mix humor with heart. Some of the most beloved episodes have a gut punch of emotion amidst the comedy. In The One with the Prom video, you're laughing at the friends watching an old home movie, and then suddenly tearing up when Rachel realizes Ross has loved her since high school, leading to that famous kiss by the door. The writing seamlessly shifts tone, delivering a message about long-standing love and loyalty right after a joke about Monica's old dress. That balance is a philosophical statement in itself. Life is comedy and tragedy, often at the same time, and Friends embrace that truth. As one article noted, the show tackled universal timeless themes: love, work, friendship, adulting, with heart, which is key to its enduring appeal. We have to give the writers credit for creating 6 distinct characters that each embodied different perspectives on life. Whether it's Ross's neurotic intellectualism, Phoebe's free-spirited eccentricity, or Monica's type A drive, the characters often disagreed and had contrasting outlooks, which led to both conflict and comedy. Their personality clashes, like tidy Monica versus messy Chandler as roommates, or pragmatic Monica versus romantic Rachel on dating rules, allowed the show to debate various life approaches in a fun way. Each friend brought something unique to the table, and the group dynamic was richer for it. As viewers, we could see pieces of ourselves in these characters, making the humor hit closer to home. All this brilliant writing would be nothing, of course, without the actors who brought these friends to life. So next, let's talk about that magical ensemble.
Oh, there's nobody in the room.
It's often said that the chemistry of the Friends cast was lightning in a bottle. The show's creators assembled a perfectly cast ensemble, and their performances elevated every joke and heartfelt moment. In fact, the enduring popularity of Friends owes a lot to this perfect storm of smart writing and flawless performances. The 6 lead actors, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer, truly became Rachel, Monica, Phoebe, Joey, Chandler, and Ross. Their comedic timing and genuine camaraderie made the on-screen friendships utterly believable and lovable. Each actor had incredible comic timing. Whether it's Chandler's deadpan one-liners, Phoebe's quirky offbeat remarks, or Ross's knack for physical comedy, we all remember Ross's dramatic pivot while moving a couch, right? The cast knew exactly how to land a joke. Importantly, they were generous performers. Friends wasn't a show with one star and sidekicks. It was an ensemble where everyone shone. The actors bounced off each other's energy, often enhancing the humor spontaneously. There's a reason blooper reels from Friends are so popular. You can see them cracking each other up and sometimes improvising little moments. This collaborative spirit made the comedy feel organic, like we were genuinely eavesdropping on a group of pals being goofy. But it wasn't all silliness. The acting had range for emotional scenes too. When the script called for serious or tender moments, the cast delivered. Think of Monica's proposal to Chandler, the one with the proposal. Courtney Cox and Matthew Perry play that scene with tears in their eyes, and it's deeply touching even amid a few jokes. Or consider Lisa Kudrow's performance when Phoebe says goodbye to her birth triplets, the 100th. She manages to be funny, "I'm going to miss you little aliens," and profoundly moving at the same time. These actors could turn on a dime from comedy to drama, which kept the audience emotionally invested. We laughed with them and cared about them. Another factor was the cast's real-life friendship. Over 10 years of working together, the 6 actors formed bonds that mirrored their characters. That off-screen affection translated into on-screen chemistry. You can sense it in the group scenes. The comfort they have with each other makes their banter fast and their hugs tight. In fact, it's noted that the Friends cast remained close even after the show, and this palpable warmth was part of what made the show so endearing and authentic. The audience could feel that these people genuinely liked each other. As a result, we wanted to spend time with them too, episode after episode. Crucially, the actors also made sure each character grew over time. The people we meet in season 1 aren't exactly the same by the finale, and the subtle ways the actors altered their portrayals reflect that growth. Jennifer Aniston took Rachel from a naive runaway bride to a confident career woman. You can see Rachel's posture, tone, and attitude evolve as her character matures and finds independence. Matthew Perry showed Chandler's journey from a sarcastic commitment phobe to a loving husband and soon-to-be father without losing the humor. Chandler starts as the guy who uses jokes to deflect feelings, but by the end, Perry imbues him with a warmth and stability while still zinging one-liners. As one retrospective pointed out, Chandler's evolution into a mature, loyal, and loving husband and father felt very real under the surface of his sarcastic humor. And let's not forget Matt LeBlanc, who kept Joey's childlike charm intact but added layers of caring, Joey giving up meat when Phoebe is pregnant, or his heartbreaking moment when he's in love with Rachel in season 8. Every character was dynamic, and the cast performances sold that development. By the way, the distinct personalities the actors crafted weren't just entertaining. They made the show relatable to a huge audience. As one analysis noted, each friend had traits that viewers either relate to or aspire to. Joey being attractive, Ross being smart, Monica being strong, Phoebe being carefree, Chandler being funny, and Rachel being outgoing. Something for everyone, and all 6 friends get equal spotlight. The show rotates through their storylines so that at various points, each character feels like the main character. This ensemble balance means different viewers connect with different friends. We all have a friend who says, "I'm such a Monica," or "I'm a Phoebe." It's a brilliant way the acting and writing together built a broad fan base. As fans, we saw ourselves in these characters, which made the life lessons hit home. Of course, none of these great performances would have worked without the right setting and approach to filming. That's where the directing and production style of Friends comes in, creating a space for the actors and writers to shine.
All right, somebody kiss me.
Somebody kiss me, it's midnight! Somebody kiss me, it's midnight, it's lunchtime!
Friends was filmed in front of a live studio audience on the Warner Bros. Lot, using a multi-camera setup typical of sitcoms. This classic format might seem simple, but it was actually a secret weapon for the show's comedy and energy. Taping before a live audience meant the cast got real-time feedback. actual laughter, which they could play off of. As one analysis noted, performing with an audience enabled the cast to work off the audience's energy and clued the creators in on which jokes were landing. If a joke didn't get laughs, the writers could tweak it on the fly, or the actors might improvise something funnier. In this way, the directing approach was almost theatrical. Each episode was like a little stage play, fine-tuned to get the best reaction. This kept the comedy sharp. When you hear that iconic laugh track on Friends, most of it is actually a genuine crowd reaction to what was happening on set. The directors, notably James Burrows for the pilot and many others like Kevin S. Bright throughout the series, understood how to leverage the multi-camera format to maximize humor. They would often hold on a wide shot so we could catch a character's hilarious reaction in the background. For example, when Ross finds out about Monica and Chandler in The One Where Everybody Finds Out, the camera doesn't cut away. We get the full view of Ross's freakout, my best friend and my sister, through a window, which doubles the comedy. The timing of cuts and zooms was crucial too. Think of the fast zoom on Ross during the famous pivot scene, which perfectly emphasizes the absurdity of that moment. The directors balanced these techniques to keep a pace that matched the snappy dialogue. Another subtle but effective directing choice was how Friends made its sets into almost characters themselves. The two main sets, Monica's apartment and Central Perk, were brightly lit, inviting spaces where the cast could physically interact in comedic ways. Directors frequently staged group scenes that showed all 6 friends together, reinforcing the theme of unity. Consider the many episodes that end with everyone in Monica's living room sharing ice cream, or all squeezed on that orange couch at the coffee shop. These blocking choices visually communicated togetherness, and occasionally the show would surprise us by breaking out of the usual sets, like when it filmed on location in London for Ross's wedding, or when the friends ran around a parking garage during a hilarious chase. The One Where Joey Moves Out features a memorable moment of physical comedy with Chandler riding a hospital cart. By mostly keeping the familiar hub locations, but sometimes venturing out, the directing maintained a cozy, intimate feel while still offering variety and big set-piece laughs. Cinematically, Friends wasn't trying to be avant-garde. It followed the proven sitcom style pioneered by shows like Cheers and Seinfeld. In fact, its visual style was inspired by predecessors of the golden age of sitcoms. This meant straightforward camera work, minimal fancy editing, and a focus on actors and dialogue. And that was a smart choice. It put the emphasis on the characters and their interactions, which is exactly why people tuned in. The directing philosophy seemed to be, serve the comedy and the chemistry, no distracting camera tricks, just clear shots of our friends being goofy or heartfelt, so we, the audience, feel like the 7th friend in the room. One cannot talk about Friends production without mentioning its iconic sound elements. The theme song, I'll Be There For You, with its hand claps, became instantly recognizable. Who hasn't clapped along to those 4 claps at least once? And within the show, sound and music were used thoughtfully, like Phoebe's guitar songs that set a comedic tone, or Ross's terrible synthetic keyboard music in The One Where Chandler Crosses the Line, used to humorous effect. Even the audience's "ooh" when something romantic or surprising happened became a part of the viewing experience. These little production touches created an atmosphere where viewers felt emotionally involved, laughing, awing, and clapping along as if we were on set too. Lastly, the production kept one foot in realism. The costumes and props reflected the 90s fashion and lifestyle, which made the show feel current in its time. Rachel's outfits and hairstyle basically defined 90s fashion. The creators paid attention to cultural references and contemporary issues just enough to ground the show in reality. For instance, mentions of then-current celebrities or trends pop up in dialogue. This commitment to being of its time helped audiences see their own lives in the show. Yet, the core themes were so universal that even new generations relate. Fun fact, Friends was the most streamed show in the UK in 2019, decades after it aired, and when it hit Netflix, it became the platform's 2nd most watched series. Talk about staying power. The straightforward directing and production choices made the series timeless by not overcomplicating things. It's just 6 people in rooms talking about life, and that's kind of the formula for magic here. Now that we've explored how Friends was made and performed, let's examine something truly fascinating: how this show impacted millions of viewers around the world, influencing real-life ideas of friendship and dating.
Hooker! She's a hooker! She's a... Hi.
It's hard to overstate just how big of a cultural phenomenon Friends became. This sitcom didn't just reflect the lives of a generation. In many ways, it shaped them. Over the years, Friends turned into a yardstick by which relationships, particularly friendships, were measured, emulated, and sometimes even misunderstood. In other words, people around the globe started asking, is my friend group like the Friends? Do I have a friendship as tight as Monica and Rachel's? The show's portrayal of a tight-knit, always there for you friend circle set a new norm for what friendship could look like, especially for young adults. One clear example of this impact is how Friends made the idea of friends as family mainstream. Before it aired, pop culture had plenty of friend groups, but Friends presented the notion that your friends are your family in your 20s and 30s, a comforting thought that resonated with viewers who were living away from home or delaying traditional milestones. The show introduced the concept of friends like family well before it became a hashtag, as the characters support each other through breakups, job layoffs, and even literal childbirth. Audiences around the world internalized that vision of friendship. It became common for fans to seek out similar camaraderie in their own lives. Roommates who become best friends, friends who gather for Thanksgiving. Friendsgiving is a term and tradition arguably popularized by Friends episodes, and friend circles that stick together year after year. The influence on dating and romance was also significant. Friends was, in many ways, a running commentary on modern dating. From Ross and Rachel's epic will they won't they saga, to Chandler overcoming commitment issues, to Monica challenging gender norms by proposing to Chandler, these storylines subtly influenced how viewers thought about love. For instance, Ross and Rachel's infamous break sparked endless real-world debates on what it means to be on a break, highlighting the importance of clearly communicating relationship status. Chandler and Monica showed that the best relationships often start from friendship, a trope that many later sitcoms and real people have embraced. Who doesn't secretly think their close friend could be their soulmate after seeing Monica and Chandler? And Phoebe and Mike demonstrated that staying true to your quirky self can attract the right partner, a nice counterpoint to many conventional romance plots. In short, Friends gave a generation relatable templates for various relationship dynamics. The on-again, off-again couple, the friends to lovers, the goofy one who finds a steady love, etc. Many fans found themselves learning lessons, consciously or not, about what works and what doesn't in relationships from the show's triumphs and mistakes. Beyond relationships, Friends influenced everyday culture and lifestyle. It set trends. When millions of people are asking for the Rachel haircut at salons, you know a TV show has entered the zeitgeist. Indeed, Friends spawned a hairstyle that is still popular and launched many catchphrases and colloquialisms into everyday speech. Phrases like Joey's "How you doin'" or Chandler's sarcastic "Could it be?" became part of our comedic lexicon. Even deeper, Friends affected how people design their living spaces. Who wouldn't want a cozy purple apartment with a quirky picture frame on the door? How they drink their coffee. The rise of coffeehouse culture in the 90s parallels Friends hanging out at Central Perk, and how they socialize. The idea of meeting your friends in a cafe to catch up was certainly not new, but Friends made it look so inviting that it probably helped solidify coffee culture among young adults in the 90s and 2000. Remarkably, the show's impact cuts across generations and borders. It has been broadcast in over 60 countries, and streaming brought it to new millennial and Gen Z audiences who weren't even born when it first aired. Why does it still click? Because at its core, Friends is about relationships that transcend time and culture. As Refinery29 put it, Friends is a show about relationships. Platonic, caring, romantic, and that singular concept transcends generations. The themes of figuring out adulthood, relying on friends, falling in love, messing up and making up, those are universally relatable experiences. So a teenager in 2025 can laugh and learn from Friends just like someone who watched the premiere in 1994. There's also an interesting phenomenon, Friends as a comfort show. In difficult times, people turn to it for solace. After the traumatic events of September 11th in 2001, Friends saw its ratings increase by 17%. Viewers were literally seeking comfort in this group of fictional friends during real-world turmoil. The familiarity, humor, and heart of the show provided a safe escape. Even today, Many fans rewatch Friends on streaming when they need a pick-me-up or a laugh, almost like calling an old friend. However, no cultural impact discussion is complete without noting that Friends wasn't perfect. Some of its jokes and portrayals have been critiqued as not aging well, especially regarding diversity and inclusivity. For example, there were frequent gay jokes or the treatment of Chandler's transgender parent that creators later admitted they'd handle differently now. The lack of main cast diversity also stands out more today. Yet, acknowledging these flaws has become part of the conversation of how far we've come since the 90s. In a way, Friends provides a snapshot of the era's social attitudes. Both what was progressive, it featured one of TV's first lesbian weddings for instance, and what was narrow. The show sparked discussions among fans about what they'd like to see changed, which itself is a cultural impact. It got people talking about representation and respect in comedy. On the whole, though, Friends' legacy in shaping views on friendship and life is overwhelmingly positive. It taught many of us that having a supportive friend group is invaluable, that love often looks different than fairy tales, and that humor can get you through just about anything. One writer described Friends as a cultural touchstone that became a guidebook for what friendships should look like, with its model of constant humor and unwavering support setting expectations worldwide. Perhaps that's a lot of pressure to put on a sitcom, and indeed some people found out life isn't always as easy as having a couch at Central Perk. Vox even called Friends an illusion of perfect adult friendships, noting real life is messier. But even if Friends is idealized, it gave us a goal: to be there for our friends like they are for us, and to find laughter in life's ups and downs. Now, as promised, let's get into some fun stuff. Those hidden messages and Easter eggs tucked into the show, and the deeper meanings they carry.
You can't move at all?
Oh, I can move.
After 10 seasons, Friends left us with countless memorable moments, but also a bunch of hidden gems that reward eagle-eyed fans. From secret notes on set to deeper meanings and running gags, here are some fascinating hidden messages and subtle details from Friends. The Magna Doodle messages. In Chandler and Joey's apartment, there was a small Magna Doodle board on the door, and the crew often drew or wrote jokes on it reflecting the episode's events. For example, after their apartment is robbed, when Joey foolishly gets locked in the entertainment unit, the board reads, "Thanks for all your stuff," ostensibly written by the burglar. In another episode, Building Superintendent Mr. Trieger leaves a doodle note saying, "Clean up the duck feathers in the hallway," and later, "I love you, man," which amusingly foreshadows Joey and Chandler's big friendship fallout and reconciliation in the next episode. These blink and you miss it doodles were an inside joke from the crew to observant fans. Ross's t-shirt sign language. One of the more obscure hidden messages comes from Ross's wardrobe. In the season 8 episode, The One with the Tea Leaves, Ross wears a gray t-shirt with an image of two hands with index fingers linked. It turns out that this hand gesture is actually the word friends in American Sign Language. Yes, Ross was literally wearing a friend's message on his chest. It's a subtle nod likely placed by the costume department or production as a tribute to the show's theme of friendship, and a cool Easter egg for fans to discover years later. Phoebe's songs with secret meanings. We all love Phoebe's goofy songs for their humor, but many have surprisingly sweet messages. The best example is Smelly Cat. On the surface, it's a funny song about a smelly feline, but it's actually about acceptance. The lyrics imply, "Smelly cat, it's not your fault," reminding us not to judge our friends for things beyond their control, and that true friends love each other despite imperfections. In her silly way, Phoebe was teaching lessons about empathy and self-worth. Even her oddball lines often hide wisdom, e.g. in Sticky Shoes, she's venting her troubles through comedy. So next time you giggle at a Phoebe song, listen carefully. There might be a life lesson strumming along with the laughs. Episode title, Inside Jokes. The very naming of episodes as The One was a creative decision with a message. It's like Friends is presenting each story as a shared memory among pals. Additionally, once in a blue moon, the show has fun with its own format. For instance, the 100th episode is cheekily titled The 100th, or sometimes the one with the triplets, marking the milestone. And the series finale is officially the last one, as if the creators are directly speaking to us. This is the last memory, cherish it. It's a small thing, but it resonates emotionally as you realize the journey with these friends is concluding. Cameos and callbacks. The show also included hidden treats like cameo appearances, Julia Roberts, Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt, and more big stars pop up unexpectedly, and callbacks to earlier jokes. Remember how every Thanksgiving episode something wild happens. Turkey on the head, Monica's karaoke moment, Chandler's dislike of Thanksgiving. These running traditions were intentional Easter eggs. Fans knew to expect a Thanksgiving craziness each season, or how Janice, Chandler's on and off girlfriend with the nasally "oh my god" catchphrase, mysteriously appears at least once every season, a running gag that became a "where will Janice" pop-up game. These patterns weren't exactly messages, but they were hidden structural Easter eggs that rewarded loyal viewers. Those are just a few examples showing that Friends has layers beyond its surface. Whether it's a literal hidden scribble on a prop or a deeper meaning in a joke, the show creators loved planting little surprises. It's part of why the show stands up to rewatching. There's always another detail to notice or an inside joke to catch. By the end of our 10-year journey with the gang, we realized that everything in Friends, even the smallest doodle or silliest song, can carry a bit of meaning or a wink to the audience. As we wrap up this deep dive, one thing is clear. Friends earned its place in TV history not just by making us laugh, but by making us feel connected. It combined academic-worthy themes of friendship, ethics, and personal growth with pitch-perfect comedy and relatable scenarios. The philosophy of the show, that life is better with good friends by your side, resonates as strongly today as it did in 1994. In its unique, humorous way, Friends taught us about love in all its forms, about embracing imperfections, because who isn't a little bit of a smelly cat sometimes? And about growing up without losing your sense of humor. The show's script, acting, and directing all worked in harmony to create something timeless. Smart writing gave the story depth and endless quotable lines. A talented, warm-hearted cast made the characters feel like our own friends. Solid, unobtrusive directing let the moments speak for themselves, comedic or profound. And beyond the screen, Friends left a cultural impact, inspiring people to value their friendships and find joy in everyday moments. It wasn't just a TV show, it became a shared experience across the world. We've all clapped the theme song, debated whether Ross and Rachel were on a break, and taken "which friend are you?" quizzes. Turns out, I'm a Monica with a Chandler rising. Who knew? Even decades later, new viewers binge the series and feel the same connection, proving that the core messages of Friends are truly universal. As one article put it, the show captures the complexity of human relationships while remaining entertaining and accessible. A balance many shows strive for, but few achieve so enduringly. So, whether you come to Friends for the laughs, the life lessons, or a bit of both, its philosophy is woven into every episode. Life is better shared. Be it sharing an apartment, a laugh, or a tough time. And when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year, your friends are there to help you through. That's a message that never goes out of style. Thank you for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this analysis, remember to subscribe for more insightful video essays, and don't forget to drop a comment about which movie or show I should break down next. I'm director Ammar Hejazi, and I'll be there for you with another deep dive very soon.